Okay, welcome back to video 4. In this one, the previous one was a triage to look at the initial server code, and we identified the need to separate out the builder function from the actual creation of the server. So let me just start working here, and we'll see where this goes. I'm going to try to drop this down so I have the most room to work in. So what I really want is to say, well, let's say pub struct server builder, and this is going to have the handlers. It's really there just to set up the handlers, I think. So when we impose server builder, let's do fn new. We're gonna is that gonna work? Default colon default. It's not implemented for server builder because, okay, let's just, we're going to derive default. That's how you instantiate an instance of server builder. I don't like that that mechanism, but that's fine. You know, let's do it this way. I just don't like that. So let's have server build. I don't like those two there. So we're going to put that somewhere else. fn finalize, and we're going to put it, oops, that's not where it goes. And let's call this a result of server and server error. This actually goes here. And we're almost right. There we go. So it takes generic, sorry, type alias takes 0 arguments, but 2 generic arguments were supplied. What did I do? Maybe it's just because I'm not returning it right. Remove these generics. Oh, that's big. Oh, well, I'll get to that in a bit. So the finalize is actually going to take in self, and I want to fix this, but I'll get to that in just a second. So TCP listener server, that's really what we're going to be doing. So let's copy that, put that in there. Self.handlers. I don't quite like this yet, but we're getting there. That's why. There we go. Okay, that got rid of those squiggles. We don't have this. And I'm going to move these into here. Okay, so now we can't build our examples because we're really starting to muck that up. So let's go into our top level cargo. So way to ignore. let's look at the Google's. Exclude. Yeah. So I believe that you just do exclude, and we're going to exclude portfolio. And I'm actually going to exclude hello too, because I think I want to do all of the work in, tests to be able to define my interface. So new is never used for worker. Oh, because we're not actually creating one yet. Let's just make that pub. That'll get rid of this. Maybe. We're going to make this pub 2. Not the right thing to do, but it's okay. Shh. And it's not used because our thread pool. So I'm going to add this to be pub as well. Might take away some of that later on, but it's okay for now. Finalize is never used, so finalize needs to be pub as well. And we're actually now building. Let's run cargo test and cargo clippy. So let's look at what we did to refactor this so far. In the server now, well, this didn't change, but we have a server builder now that is holding up the handlers, or it's a mutable version of this that allows us to configure all of our handlers that's going to handle requests. And there's a finalize, which takes self as an owned self, so that will consume it and transfers the handlers into the server. The finalize also takes a socket adder and a pool size. This can fail. I don't like that, but I don't have to like it right now. We've moved these two into there because it's all about configuring the server, and it doesn't make sense to reconfigure the server dynamically. It might, but typically you don't. So now the server's implementation just has run. All the server has to worry about is just doing the action of running the connections. So that's a refactoring for the builder pattern. I guess in the next few minutes, let's just create a test builder pattern, and let's do builder equals server builder default. I forgot how I created a new version of that. I didn't. So I actually want to do here pubfn build, which is going to return a server builder. And this is okay. You might call it on the server builder itself. You're getting into just sort of calling semantics, but let's see what this looks like in our test here. So we go server build, and let's just see if that works. See, I want to be able to finalize without doing any of this. Open up main without doing this nonsense. But let's see. Okay, let's see if that just to get this to build right. Import that. Handler default handler. So our handler needs to look like a handler. Handlers look like what? It's an FN request that returns a response. I'm just trying to create a null response. So this is going to be a request that is going to create a response. Got to close that out, right? We got to finalize this with our adder, socket adder, and thread pool size. And we're going to unwrap this as well. It's not a great way to run a test, but that's okay. So we're not going to do anything with the request. Okay, we're at least clean. Cargo test. And we have one that passes. I don't need that. It says I don't need that, but I think I do. Oh, I know why. Let's do this. So I often will do this. CFG test, I believe. Test, and now we can do that. We need to now import, use superstar. Superstar. It's like the worst superhero ever. So now we're building clean, and we're running a test. Clip clean too. So what do we do? We went over time, but that's okay. We did the builder thing, separated that out into its own server builder. That the server builder is only responsible with managing the handler registry, and then finalizing that into this. This is sort of misplaced, but I'll deal with that later. The server is only responsible for creating the initial build object and running the server itself. We have a test now, our first test that will, this is really just testing our API. It's really no more than that. We're not validating that it's actually doing anything right. We're just sort of confirming that this is how a user wishes to interact with creating the server. And what this is telling me is that this is a poor user experience because they have to do like this socket adder resolving and a bunch of other stuff. I just don't like that. But we can make this better. And but that's going to be the next video, I think. We'll see where this goes.